As the saying goes, if a family wants to prosper, it depends on its descendants. Buddhism is no exception. If Buddhism is to flourish, young people need to be committed to studying Buddhism. This is the same reason. The name of the Awakening Study Club, which was recently established by Hong Guang College in Shalu, is so impressive. You must know that this club, with more than 100 members, is organized by two young women of 17 years of age, who were brave enough to work hard and earnestly. The greatness of their spirit is really admirable. Whose daughters are these two little girls who show great compassion? It turns out that it is Miss Yuqing, the daughter of Yaomin Wang, who is currently the head of the General Affairs section of the Xinying Sugar Factory. The other is Miss Jinzhi, Yuqing's classmate. Recalling that 12 years ago, when I went to the Mahayana abode in the sugar factory to teach people to recite the Buddha, the girl was only 5 years old. Time flies by like flowing water. In the blink of an eye, one day 3 months ago, a slim female student with good facial features and generous manners, came to the Lotus Society. When she called out, "Auntie Kanzhi," I couldn't remember who she was. She said, "I'm the daughter of Mrs. Wang of Xinying Sugar Factory." Because she hoped to set up a Buddhist study club in her school, she wanted me to assist them. It turned out that she was studying at Hong Guang Nursing College. I was overjoyed to hear this news and immediately introduced her to several students from the Wisdom Sea Club of Chongqing University and gave them guidance on how to set up the club. But out of curiosity, I asked her, "At your age, with such determination, do you know the benefits of studying Buddhism and being mindful of the Buddha?" Yuqing replied, "I have twice witnessed the inspiration of the Buddha chanting, and I often read the monthly magazine of the Bodhi tree. I just thought that if one wants to achieve delight in real life and to be free from suffering and find happiness in the afterlife, one must study Buddhism and be mindful of the Buddha." I asked her, "Can you tell me about the twice inspiration you saw?" Yuqing said, "When my parents were at the sugar factory, they set up a small Buddhist hall. The courses of the Lotus Fellows chanting the Buddha day and evening are never interrupted. At that time, there was a Lotus Fellow named Ayu, 20 years old. It was the day of her wedding, but she still went to the Buddha hall to attend the morning course and recite the Buddha. After that, she went to dress up as a bride. Then along with the groom, the matchmaker, the driver, the four of them ride together in a cab. It turned out that Ayu was married to a teacher from Tanzi Elementary School. Dozens of us Lotus Fellows who were sending her off to get married also took a tour bus to Tanzi. Everyone was very happy and sang incense in the sense of praise along the way. Unwittingly, we're already halfway there. It was an auspicious day based on the zodiac. Unfortunately, the weather let us down, and it was a rainy day. When we passed a school, the bride's car suddenly somersaulted and fell on the roadside with all four wheels upward due to the muddy and slippery road. Those of us Lotus Fellows who followed behind on the tour bus were shocked to see this scene. But in an instant, the bridegroom, the bride, the driver, and the matchmaker crawled out of the car one by one. You looked at me, and I looked at you. After they carefully checked each other, the four of them were not injured at all. It was so incredible that not even a piece of glass on the car door was broken. But what about the bridal car with its wheels turned upside down? Suddenly, some farmers passed by. The farmers, each carrying a bamboo pole, voluntarily stepped forward to help, and turned the bridal car over. After the driver carefully inspected the parts, the car was not damaged at all. The bride and groom returned to the original car and were delivered to the groom's home in Tanzi safely. We all wished the bride to have blessings thereafter. The bride said, "I was sitting in the car, thinking about Buddha all the time." Yuqing added, "I saw this with my own eyes, because my mother and I also participated in the wedding ceremony." When Yuqing said this, I asked her what the other inspiration was. Yuqing continued to speak. "There is a temple near my current house. My mother often goes there to worship Buddha and tells people the benefits of believing in Buddha. In addition, She shows people the Bodhi tree and encourages people to be mindful of Amitabha. Among them was an elder who heard it made sense. Not only was he mindful of the Buddha devoutly but also urged his family members to be mindful of the Buddha. He has a granddaughter who is only 16 years old. She was transformed by her grandfather and also devoted to reciting the Buddha. This girl was in the grade 2 of the girls' middle school last year. One morning, when she was riding a bicycle to school, she wanted to cross a narrow bridge. The girl looked back and forth and only one taxi was passing, so she kept riding forward with peace of mind. Unexpectedly, a large truck suddenly came at her head-on like lightning. She couldn't advance or retreat on this extremely dangerous narrow bridge. She was unavoidably caught between two vehicles, and she was going to die in a blink of eyes. Fortunately, she was usually mindful of the Buddha. She instantly thought of the Buddha and shouted Amitabha aloud. At this time, her bicycle had been crushed by the large truck, and she was dragged away by the truck to dozens of meters away before stopping. Those who witnessed the tragedy at the scene thought the girl must have been smashed to pieces and died instantly. To everyone's surprise, when the truck stopped, the girl turned over and stood up. She took a closer look at herself. Not only was there no broken bone, but she didn't even shed a drop of blood, only a little scratch on the skin of her arm. The above fact is indeed a miracle. It is inconceivable that chanting Buddha's name can ward off disasters like this, turn major events into small ones, and turn trivial matters into nothingness. Many people say that it is good to believe in Buddha and worship, so why bother to chant Buddha? There is an issue with this statement. You must know that Buddhism is the method of heart, and everything is in line with your heart. If you are mindful of the Buddha, your heart will be pure.